When introducing another car stereo in your vehicle, your initial step will clearly be to detach the old one. It is very possible to go through the uninstallation process and fail to recall them later. However, don't surge. You'll need to ensure you remember all the uninstallation steps, since you'll be turning around this procedure to introduce another sound system. It is often a very daunting task to install a radio in your car, but a guideline would come in handy, and that's the aim of this article. Your radio will most likely be installed in the following ways: secured in a metal mounting sleeve by spring clips, bolted to the dash with brackets, mounted to the rail system in the dash. Installing the car stereo. To start the installation, be careful to prevent accidentally short-circuiting something in your car. Do this by setting the parking brake. Also remove the negative cable from the car battery. In the event that your car has an industrial facility stereo, or it has already been set up with the stereo prep bundle, there ought to be a single plastic wiring saddle just at the stereo surface. This attachment interfaces the sound system with your car's electrical framework and the speaker. You should unplug the sound system from the wire bridles and detach the radio wire to finish the uninstallation procedure. With the former stereo removed, turn to the installation of the brand new one, which involves majorly connecting the cables and fixing the radio in the vehicle dash. Wiring the stereo. Your car wiring harness can be used to link the new stereo to the car dashboard. What this does is to guarantee that everything functions consistently, as much as the factory radio did. These harnesses incorporate a coded wiring chart for interfacing the saddle to the new sound system. This takes us to the power wiring. Usually, it is best to make all the new stereo's wiring connections via the wiring harness. If you have to make a direct power connection, you'll need to know the difference between switched and constant power. A switched power source only comes on when the ignition is keyed. Connect the new stereo's main switch power lead, usually a red wire, to a switched power source, so that the stereo will go off when you switch off the car, and not drain your car's battery. A constant power source is always on. Connect your car's memory lead, usually a yellow wire, to a constant power source. Here, you don't get to lose your stereo presets, clock settings and tone control presets every time you turn off the vehicle. To eliminate noise interference when you use your stereo, a proper ground wiring should be done. Good ground connection is vital for quality stereo performance. If you are not using a custom wire harness, look for a bare, unpainted bolt or screw that contacts the bare casting of your vehicle's chassis. Loosen the bolt, slip the ground wire underneath, this is usually a black wire, then tighten the bolt. If your low wire doesn't touch bare metal, your stereo won't operate. A loose or weak ground connection can result in noise interfering with the music. There's a need to connect a wire if your new stereo has a touchscreen sensor or video monitor. Get your tool compartment. Screwdrivers and an attachment set to the battery link are generally needed at this point. You'll additionally require an electrical tape and wire strippers to make wire connections, which we'll discuss later too. One of several significant instruments you'll require is a board expulsion apparatus to assist you securely expel the scramble boards without breaking anything. Detaching a spring cut mounted stereo. If the radio is held by spring cuts, you will need a couple of DIN apparatuses. Supplement the DIN devices into the gaps on each side of all the units pending when you will probably hear a tick. The instruments serve to discharge the spring cuts and furthermore snare onto the parts of the sound system with the goal of hauling it out effectively. Spread the apparatuses separated somewhat, then haul the sound system off the scramble. Evacuating a stereo appended to an iron rail framework. Some vehicle makers mount the stereo to a rail in the scramble. When the spring clasps or jolts are expelled, you can remove the radio from the rail. Since this iron rail can make some of the frames metal with the suspension of another radio, it might need to be removed as well. Unplugging the factory line stereo. If your car has a stereo, or if that it has been pre-set up with a radio prep bundle, there ought to be a plastic wire saddle behind the radio opening. This fitting associates the sound system to your car's electrical framework in the speaker. You should unplug the radio from the wire outfits and detach the receiving wire to finish the expulsion procedure. With the former stereo off the dashboard, it's a great opportunity to concentrate on the upgraded one. That includes linking all the wire connections and afterward introducing the sound system in the scramble. Power wires. As a rule, it is ideal to make the entirety of the radio's wiring connections through a wiring tackle. However, in the event that you need to make an immediate power connection, you'll have to ascertain the distinction between exchanged and steady power. An exchanged power source is just on if you start the ignition. It links your new radio's primary exchanged power lead, normally a red cable, to an exchanged power source. The stereo will stop when you switch off the vehicle, and not deplete your car's battery. A steady power source is consistently on. It interfaces your new radio's memory lead, typically a yellow cable, to a steady power source. The advantage of this is that you won't lose the radio broadcast presets, clock settings and tone presets, each time you switch off the car. Although uncommon, very powerful sound systems expect you to fix a constant power link at the car battery's positive terminal. This entails a heavier power wire, a ring terminal and the inline meld typically included to connect the power wire fixed to the car battery clasp. You should run the power wire down to the car battery area, which is regularly run through the car firewall and right into the motor compartment to create the connection in the battery of your car. Speaker cables. Vehicle sound systems have 8 cables for the conventional 4-speaker framework, a positive cable and the negative wire used to connect both speakers. Ground wire connection. A proper ground connection is essential for proper radio function and to prevent undesirable interference. If you do not want to utilize a customized wiring outfit, search for an uncovered, unpainted fastener that touches the exposed casting of your car's skeleton. Loosen the bolt and slip the ground wire underneath, then fix the bolt. If the ground wire doesn't contact uncovered metal, your radio won't work. A free or loose ground connection can bring about signal meddling with the music. If the new radio has a video or touchscreen, you will need to connect a cable to your crisis stopping brake wire. The wire goes about as an alternative to switch on your video screen when the stopping brake is locked in. This wire could be in various areas in different cars, depending on your brake setup. The wiring is typically found where your stopping brake is located. In cars that possess a functional handbrake in between the 2 front seats, you will need to detach the center console to find a good place to fix the wire. In cars that have foot pedal leaving brake, the radio's wire should be steered to it. This brings us to the next step. Mounting the sound system. It is almost certain that you will require a mounting unit to install the radio. If the mounting pack is required, adhere to the guidelines included in the pack. At times you introduce the pack in the dash and you can slide the stereo's metal sleeve in the unit. Secure the sleeve by utilizing the screwdriver to twist the metal tabs to fit. In different cases, you can connect the mounting pack to the stereo first. At that point, secure the 2 in the dashboard with screws. When the dash opening is prepared for the newly bought sound system, hold the sound system close to the opening. Interface the radio wiring connector to the car's wiring tackle and fix the antenna link. Depending on the stereo you pick, you will need to connect different wires to the back of the sound system. For example, the Bluetooth, microphone wire, USB cable, interface, or the auxiliary input link. Switch on the power and attempt each source CD, FM, AM, USB. After this, change the parity settings to watch that every speaker is functional. When you're certain the radio is connected and working appropriately, get done with verifying the stereo in the dash and reinstall the dash bolts that you uninstalled. At this point you can slide the sound system into the scramble opening. Be on the ride home with a working stereo. If you have enjoyed this video, click on the subscribe button below to get notifications when we post a new video. Also drop a comment below so we can know your thoughts. Finally, don't forget to check the description below for more details and visit our site, www.zimcaraudio.com, for more awesome car stereo content like this.